It's stupid.
What's going on, everybody? We are back with another hour of Backstreet Sports. The whole crew's in the house.
Doggone right.
Myself, Max, Tyer,
We here.
Tanner,
Yo.
and Chris.
I'm pumped.
Fellas.
I've been up for so long, and I'm so pumped. Sorry, Max. I didn't mean to cut you off.
You doing good? You feeling all right today?
No.
No? A lot to get to today. All right, we're going to start with a little bit of Phillies talk. I want to dive right into this.
First place National League East, even though they're like 2 games above 500. I'm so excited because we have a great player in the right field. Isn't that right, Tanner?
Yeah, let's not talk about that guy.
What's wrong with...
Actually, you know what? I'll go right into it. Today I'm grumpy.
Uh-oh.
And I think I'll talk about this sorry excuse for an outfielder in
I
right
am
field.
pissed off.
Wait a second. No. We're not talking about the same guy, are we?
We're talking about $330 million man. We're talking about Rookie of the Year. We're talking about MVP. Past Rookie of the Year.
Past Rookie of the
We're
Year.
talking about...
It's an outrage.
We're talking about Bryce, Aaron, Max, Harper. That's who we're talking about.
Bryce, Aaron, Max Harper?
This is going to be the funny part is I've never seen Tanner upset or pissed off in any way, so this is going to be entertaining for me.
No, listen, we knew he wasn't as good as he is batting. We knew he wasn't as good in the field. But this is absolutely ridiculous. This man can't track down a pop-up. He has 2 official errors.
It's funny to me, too.
But you know how many times I've seen that man dive for a ball and completely miss it and look like a fool out there? You could put a bench out there. You could put a bench out there, and the ball will hit the bench. It's ridiculous.
Look, okay, now, yes, Bryce Harper, we are paying you more money than any of us will ever see in our life.
$1 million.
$330.
Wow.
You can't catch a pop-up? What are you doing? No. Bryce, look, I understand what Tanner here is saying. You got to catch that. Come on. What did that turn into, a double?
Dude.
Oh, my God. Bryce.
And then he put his head down. When he dropped the ball, he put his head down. Didn't even try to get the ball after that.
And Bryce has been on a bit of a slump lately.
38 strikeouts, to be exact.
Jeez, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yes, 30.
If you take out that 5-hit game he had in Colorado,
Yeah.
I want winners.
it's really bad.
Yeah,
The stat line.
They were talking about that the other night. Yeah, he's if you take that out, I think he's batting below 200 right now.
Yeah.
If you take that one game out, so
What's he
Bryce,
here
it's still early on. Sorry.
What's he here for?
What's
What's he doing? What's he doing that Gene isn't doing?
What's he doing that Aaron
I am
Altair can
pissed
do?
off.
Wow.
Max, do you want to elaborate on that? Is there things that Aaron Altair can do that Bryce Harper cannot?
Maybe catch a pop-up.
I personally think we should be just a little bit more lighthearted about Bryce. I think right now hear me out on this one. Hear me out, people.
All right,
Hear me
yeah.
out. I think that throughout his career, Bryce has had his inconsistencies, especially in the outfield as a defender. And even before we signed him, we kind of knew he wasn't the best right fielder from a defensive standpoint, obviously.
Not at all.
Now, honestly, that play last night was terrible.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was a little league play.
I think like a 12-year-old could have caught that ball. So,
Was that like a wise ass comment?
from my viewpoint on this is Bryce is not the only one on this team struggling, right?
No.
The last couple of weeks, our offense as a whole.
Yeah, but the thing is, we notice more when Bryce is struggling because he is our team.
Oh yeah, he's a centerpiece pretty
he
much.
is
He
the
centerpiece
$330
that
million
we build
man.
around now.
The one guy who's not though is Gene Segura. He's been playing great baseball, but I'm talking about the offense as a whole, it's been struggling. There's you look at main guys in this lineup, the averages aren't where we expected it to be. The home runs, besides Reese, haven't really been up to par in my opinion. I thought Bryce at this point maybe because the hype, it could be just the hype coming into the season, but I thought he might have like 10 plus at this point. I thought especially hitting in our ballpark. I mean, that ballpark especially right field down the lines, 330. But again, this game, this sport, baseball is a different sport than what we're used to. For basketball, football, 16 game season.
Yep.
Hockey too, Chris. I know, big hockey guy. 82 games.
82 games is a lot.
Baseball is 162. Exactly, Chris. Great point. 82 games is a lot of games, but baseball is 162 games.
162
Yeah,
games
football
is
only
a
has
lot.
16
Now, yeah,
during the regular season.
You do make a great point there, Max, because, are we even say the Phillies go on a nice hot run in June, we're not even going to remember this.
Yeah.
And Because it's still very early on. Like I said earlier, the Phils are still first in the division.
Exactly.
Which I honestly surprised me because I'm like, geez, they've been very cold lately. But that's the competition of this division. We are when you look at our record compared to all the other division leaders, we have the worst record. But that, I feel like, also attributes to how good the division is. Also,
It's an outrage.
It is an outrage. Come on, man. So, I'm certainly not. It is frustrating, but I'm not losing hope like some ridiculous people. Like, geez, yeah. I'm not even kidding. I got a text from a friend who said, "Man, let's just get rid of Bryce. Let's get Mookie.
What?
Let's get Mookie.
What?
All right, listen.
And I'm like, look, I love Mookie's great. Mookie Betts is great.
It's stupid.
It's stupid.
What?
You got to remember too, the Bryce signing wasn't just because of talent. You know, it was because his face is everywhere. You know, in Philly,
Yes.
you see it all the time.
Yeah.
And Bryce has been my favorite player for years now, and even now he's struggling. But when he's out to play, I'll stop and watch regardless of how he's doing because he's just like that. He's like that big face. You know, that big $330 million guy. You know, you want to watch him play regardless. So. I always look at like basketball. We look at basketball. Basketball is a game of runs in the game. You know, players, you can be down like 20 points in the NBA, and all of a sudden you got James Harden and CP like go off, and all of a sudden it's cut to 5. Right? I feel like baseball is a season of runs. People are going to go through their struggles. You know, so it's two totally different ends of the spectrum here.
You know how I view Bryce Harper right now? Because I am hearing the criticism and I'm hearing what everybody is saying. Bryce Harper is almost like the quarterback of an NFL team. They get the most praise when everything is going right. And they're going to get the butt end of everybody's ire when everything is going wrong.
Yep.
Because he is a $330 million man. Granted, I do agree with Tanner that as an outfielder, I feel as though you should be better than what you've been displaying.
Right.
But we didn't bring him here for defense. We brought him here for offense.
Yeah, but we shouldn't have to be able to notice how bad he is in the outfield.
There's been a couple plays, especially that play in Colorado. I know that he had another.
Maybe stay after, hit some field drills or something, just improve. Just like we need Ben Simmons to hit the free throw line and improve on his free throws. We need Bryce Harper to improve on his outfield.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And for me personally, I figured we were gonna live with that.
Right.
Don't
get me wrong. All jokes aside, Bryce Harper is a great player.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
just going through a slump right now. I wouldn't trade him at all.
No.
One of the things I wanted to point out was he went over 4 at the plate last night with 2 Ks. If he makes that poor defensive play in the outfield and then goes 2 for 4 with 2 bombs,
right, you got to make up for it somehow.
And he will. He's too good of a player. Yeah. But right now, again, Chris, you made a great point. We're in first place, and look how poorly we're playing. And look how injured we were. Segura, we got back. Odubel Herrera's still hurt. Roman Quinn's hurt. Not that he was doing anything for us when he was healthy, but the names and players. Pivetta just struck out 14 in AAA or AA the other day, and people that I've been hearing are saying bring him back as a reliever in not high leverage situations or anything.
Pivetta?
Bring Pivetta back as a reliever.
Man,
he's a strikeout machine.
He is, but just after those performances, I feel like I feel like demoting him to AA. Is he still down there? I don't even know, but I feel like that's a little extreme. But I want him to marinate down there in AAA until maybe July.
Here's my point about Pivetta, because I was honestly coming out of spring training, I was high on him. I really thought he could be number 2 in this rotation. I just don't want to, I don't want him to get lost in the fold. I know because he's in AAA, the guys we kind of forget about down there. I mean, no one thought about Eichhoff until all of a sudden Eichhoff was on the team like in the first month of the season. It was like, oh, we still have Eichhoff. So I think for him, confidence is going to be key because he's got this stuff. Like I said a couple episodes ago, he's got this stuff. And if he can develop and get confidence and work on those mechanics in high leverage situations, because his arm he can throw close to 100 miles an hour. If he comes in late game situations and like guys on other teams, their big boys are coming up in that lineup and we need to get him out, he could strike them out. He can overpower guys like that, Not pitch like Neshek's a good pitcher, but he pitches to contact. Sometimes that hurts him. So for Pivetta, I think, especially listen to some of the shows today on the radio. Yeah. I'm hearing a lot of people calling in and talking about Pivetta and how he would be a lot better in the bullpen, and I agree with them.
To stay with the pitching, have you seen or heard about these trade rumors that have just sparked up today?
I did not. What's happening?
Phillies could land Matthew Boyd from Detroit. Now,
really?
A lefty. Yeah, and I mean, it's not exactly a sexy name.
No.
But I feel like it could get a decent lefty in this rotation. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter. I feel like it would just be a 1-for-1.
Definitely. No,
deal.
I'd
Just
be
a
fine
1-for-1 small deal.
Definitely.
And so I found that on NewJersey.com. I mean, I don't know how reliable that is, but
One thing I want to bring up is that Zach Eflin's complete game the other day. I've never watched a player on the Phillies throw a complete
It was
game.
a gem.
Yeah.
But me actually be I was not happy about it. I wasn't
Really?
sitting there oh man, this is great. Only because the whole time he was dominating out there, I was thinking about the previous couple starts, the inconsistency. And I say that word inconsistent the last couple episodes on the show, and it's still there. It's just so frustrating to watch because he can go out and throw something like that. We know he's got the talent to do it. But then he'll go out in Colorado to go 4 innings, give up 4 runs.
So your frustration is where you want him to be more consistent. You want him to play like the 9 innings that he played where he only gave up 1 run, and we run, what was that, 4-1?
Yeah. The thing is with me, we've been talking about these pitching for the past couple months, even before in spring training and all, and everybody, right when we're about to write somebody off, we write Pivetta off, he's in AAA. Right when Eichhoff has that solid start and then he has a couple bad ones and then he throws 7 shutout innings the other night, last week. Just as we're about to write him off, they'll go out and do something crazy, throw a complete game like that.
And that's true.
You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
No one just stays consistently poor, but no one can take that next step and develop into that, top of the rotation. Not even an ace. We have Nola, so we don't need an ace, but we need somebody that can get up there and Arrieta's level.
Let's be honest. The way Nola been playing, do we consider him an ace? That's a little bit of a stretch.
he's still the ace of this team.
Yeah,
They're not going.
This team,
They're
yeah.
not.
His last 2 starts have been much better.
That metaphorical badge is not going to be ripped off of him this season, at least. He is taking the mound tonight against, I forget.
Detroit.
Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, staying 2-game series.
Oh, my God.
Only 2-game series, though. Only 2-game series.
I feel like this is a team, because Detroit is no powerhouse team. I've been saying this about Nola his past couple starts. This is his chance to finally get something going. Finally get a nice 6-7 inning game. And just keep it nice and contained.
Right.
Because that was the Nola we saw almost all year last year, and I'm still very nervous about him. But I think he's good enough to fix it.
Definitely. He's got the talent.
Yeah.
5.60.
He finished third in the Cy Young voting last year. He'll definitely get back on track, and hopefully that continues tonight. A home start against the Tigers lineup that you look at it and they got maybe 2 or 3 guys that you look at that are names.
Yep.
But for the most part, this is definitely a winnable game tonight.
Yeah.
So hopefully he gets back in the win column. One thing I wanted to ask you guys about was the bullpen situation. We've been talking about the bullpen a couple times on the show. And lately, they've been pitching pretty well. Last night, Velasquez doesn't go deep into the game. They come in, have to pitch about 6-7 innings, and they're pitching really well lately. So, what do you guys think? I know we were talking about Kimbrel. You brought up Kimbrel a couple times, but
a bit of a funny note. We finally start a group chat between the 4 of us. The other night, I'm forgetting which game it was. I was about to send to the group chat. I was watching the Phillies, and Hector Neris was on the mound.
Yeah, jeez.
I was about to send a text saying, you know what? Hector Neris has been impressing me. Mm-hmm. And
I know what you're talking about.
Right before, I was about to press that send button, and he gives up a 2-run bomb. And I'm just like, you know what? Let's backspace that.
Yeah.
Let's backspace that. No, but yeah, it's still a young bullpen. Hector Neris is still a young guy, but
Hector Neris is pissing me off.
But it's hard to deny that he has been performing a lot better than he has in the past.
I agree. When that splitter's working for him,
yeah,
that's a devastating pitch.
He's given up a couple bombs here and there.
Okay,
but
I'm going to give you a comparison. My hatred for Hector Neris is the same thing as Max's hatred for Aaron Altair.
Right.
I don't care.
What is it about him? Do you think he's too inconsistent?
It's the inconsistency. And I know as soon as I see him go out to the mound, I immediately say to myself, oh boy, here we go. Crap.
And look, I actually agree with you. I agree with you. Ever since that game against the Los Angeles Dodgers where he gave up 3 home runs in a row, ever since then, I was like, ugh, I've never trusted Hector Neris on the mound. I'm always holding my breath every time he throws a pitch. This year, though, he has been performing a lot better than he has the past 2 years. He really has. And I'm trying to give him his props.
Okay.
Because, I mean...
You could try, but
I know.
It's very hard to move me off my pedestal.
We all know that, too. We all know that.
I guess. Hector, that's the message to you to, come on, be the next
I
the
think
next Mariano
for,
Rivera.
we had this conversation where we were like, what do we need more, a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher?
Yes.
I think that question's answered. I think it's a starting pitcher. Does anybody disagree?
No, I'm right there with you.
I just feel like finally we're starting to see some consistency with the bullpen, where they're not getting, lit up for like 10 plus hits. They're getting guys out. The starters have been inconsistent all year.
Yeah.
Eflin could come out next start, and believe me, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes like 4 innings, gives up like 5 runs, because he's just that inconsistent. And Velasquez, I thought, man, he's been solid the whole season so far until last night.
And even last night, he only went 3 2/3, and only gave up 3 runs. It's not that awful of a game.
No.
Now his pitch count was up there. I think he reached 99 pitches, before the end of
That's
the
why he
fourth.
gets taken out so early. His pitch count just gets up.
Which disturbs me.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But as of all of his starts so far this year, that has been his worst, but he still has not been awful. In my opinion, he's been the best, most consistent pitcher. You could argue Arrieta, but to me, Velasquez has been performing the best. Now, I mean, and I just brought up the Matthew Boyd thing. I just want to get a lefty in here, just to change it up a little. I mean, sure, you could. I don't even know who would be available right now, but I mean, I would have to research that. But I get a lefty, and even if it is Matthew Boyd, that's a cheap option.
Right.
I mean,
It doesn't have to be a Bumgarner or somebody like Robbie Ray.
At this point, you
Would
don't
it
need a
break your
superstar.
hearts? Would it break your hearts if we did like, I don't know, Ike off for Matthew Boyd?
No.
I think everybody. Okay.
Not that the Tigers would do that trade, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do think a lefty in this rotation is needed. And we've seen another thing that I want to point out. We've seen years of these guys. These guys didn't just come up from AAA. We didn't just trade for them. Eflin's been here. Velasquez has been here. Eichhoff's even been here. We kind of know what these guys are now. I think it's just time for a change. Nothing drastic or anything, but I do think lefty would be nice. Matthew Boyd, an option. Mike Minor, even he struck out 14 the other night. Looking
what?
like this was 6 years ago. 14 strikeouts against the Seattle Mariners the other night.
Wow.
On the road.
And Seattle's been on fire this year
Seattle's
so
a good
far.
team. Yeah. And it was in Seattle. It was in Seattle. So
I missed that game.
I mean, but again, I agree with you 100%. A lefty in this bullpen would be great, and I think for not even just the short term, but for the long term too, because these guys are staying. All right, I know Arrieta maybe only has 1 year left on his contract, but I wouldn't mind re-signing him just because if we can develop some guys or maybe trade for 1 or 2, he doesn't have to be that top of the number 1 or number 2, the top of the rotation guy that we expect him to be last year and this year. He could be maybe the 4th guy. Because when he gets to be that 34, 35-year-old guy, he's going to bring experience and age. Like, even though he's going to be up there in age, but his experience postseason, especially his Cy Young season and then with the Cubs and all, he can help those younger guys, especially with Nola as he gets into his prime, and help him develop pitches and things like that.
That's a good point. The way to look at it.
All right, let's get into some Sixers talk now. I got a little bit of the end of Game 2 to recap for you right here.
This is exciting.
Embiid, a ball fake. Embiid spins to the rim. Pump fake.
That up and under was nasty.
It was.
That up and under was just disgusting.
Oh, Lowry trying to put it through Harris's leg. Saves it for Leonard. Leonard gives it. Green for the tie. Off the rim. Gasol keeps it alive. Knocked around. Harris has got it for Philadelphia. They have to foul.
Great effort for Toronto to try to give themselves a chance here.
Baseball pass. Leonard. Short, and that's it. A major bounce back.
Series tied 1-1.
Huge win for the
That
Sixers.
was crazy because when that ball went loose, there was 2 players that were wide open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Danny Green missing that 3-2 was
It just
big.
goes down to luck too at the end. That's
where the ball bounces,
Yep.
But let's go back. Let's start off at Game 1. This game was hard to watch.
It was
frustrating.
It was
right from the start. What Kawhi have in the first?
He wouldn't
half?
miss. He wouldn't miss.
What did he have? 18?
Maybe even more than that. It might have been even more because he ended up with 45 for the game. So he might have even had more than that. But not even that fact that Kawhi was hitting shots. Pascal Siakam, he came out of nowhere. And
that was the X factor. We all knew Kawhi was going to get his points, but Siakam was the X factor. Yes. He was the thing that they didn't account for.
Right. Definitely agree. Now listen, he didn't show up. Not that he didn't show up, but we stepped it up obviously in Game 2. But back to that Game 1, he was another guy that wouldn't miss. He had 29 points, along with Kawhi Leonard, who had 45. But man, if you're not a diehard basketball fan, you might not know who Pascal Siakam is. But this guy's a legit starter in this league, and he's developed a lot he's not as talented as Giannis, but his development path through his first couple seasons in the league has just been huge step after huge step. So not that his performance surprised me, because it definitely did. His performance surprised me, dropping 29. I know he's a good player, but I didn't expect him to drop 29 points. But man, if he can get back to that 29 in Game 3, then I'm getting a little nervous, because then when we stepped it up in Game 2 with the defensive side, double teaming Kawhi Leonard in Game 2,
right,
leaving Siakam open, he didn't make us pay, but he's capable of doing it, and he's shown that in Game 1.
If you guys could just fill me in, because I have not gotten a chance to watch any Sixers playoff basketball. I know. I blame you, Chris, as in my boss, Chris. I hate you. No! I hate you. I don't care if you're listening. I hate you. Anyway, no. What have the matchups been in this series?
Well, I'll go back. We'll talk defense. We'll talk defense real quick.
At first, they put Jimmy Butler on Kawhi Leonard, thinking that was going to work one-on-one, and that's when Kawhi just went off and just went absolutely.
They tried multiple things. They tried. Yeah. Even Ben Simmons was on it for a little bit. I think Tobias may have tried. But even he could have put.
That was a good. That's a good word for it. He tried.
He literally tried, and it didn't work out. But you could have put anybody on Kawhi in Game 1. He was just making every shot he took.
Yeah, it was just one of those nights.
The adjustment we made, which again, this goes back to, because you know how I'm skeptical about Brett Brown after the season's over. But he made a great adjustment. He double teamed Kawhi and even put Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons in Game 1, not that he played well against Kawhi, but he was the most effective, and just really got the ball out of Kawhi's hands and really made anybody else beat us. Yep. Luckily for us, they missed shots. But a guy I wanted to point out for the Raptors who's just been a non-factor, in my opinion, Kyle Lowry.
Yes. I mean, he has not been himself in this series, which is a little. I'm a little skeptical of that.
I'm surprised. I really was surprised.
I know Lowry can just turn it on.
Yeah.
So, and that's the part that kind of scares me a little bit. We all, like we said, we all know Kawhi is going to go off. He's going to get his. Siakam was a nice little surprise in Game 1, but we had something for him in Game 2.
Yeah.
Lowry is another X factor that you don't want to just come out of the blue.
Right.
You don't want him to start scoring points along with Kawhi Leonard. Otherwise, you're going to have problems.
I feel like because he's been so quiet in the first 2 games, I don't want to not account for him in Game 3, because we still know he's a very good player and what he's capable of doing.
Second game, he still had 20 points.
He did. I was referring more to Game 1 where he only had 9.
First half he was on fire, and then we shut him down in the second half of the second game. So
another adjustment. I want to just point this out and give some respect to my man Greg Monroe.
Yes,
stepping in.
Yes,
he
James
played
Ennis
well,
and James Ennis III.
James Ennis played well too. Like, those guys really came together, and I feel like I don't know what happened, but I feel like they all got together and were like, "Listen, man, we got to step up our game." They all stepped it up.
Somebody got cussed out. That's how that usually works.
To wrap up the points about Game 1. Because this is two opposite ends of the spectrum, looking at Game 1 compared to Game 2. I mean, I don't know where this series is going, because I saw 2 different teams. And I'm talking about the Sixers, 2 different versions of the Sixers team. Yep. Butler was deferring in Game 1. He was almost like he didn't want to score, okay? Redick was basically been our only bright spot in Game 1. Embiid banged up with the injury. Even Game 2, he was sick. But in Game 1, he had the injured knee. And J.J. Redick was basically our only bright spot in that game. He was shooting threes, and they were going down for us. So I just hope, moving forward, the key for me is coming back home to Philly. I mean, we got 1-1. We know how great our crowd is at home. Any sport, but Sixers especially, they just go crazy, and I really think that is going to help us big time. And I'm not saying we're going to get 2 wins in Philly, but I think it's a real possibility. If we continue to make adjustments, go back, watch that film. Hopefully Greg Monroe, because Greg Monroe sprained his ankle in that game too. But I think he's actually a key piece to this. And people might be surprised because he came in late in the season. We kind of just picked him up off of waivers, and he came and stepped in. But I'm telling you, he matches up well against Marc Gasol, which Embiid doesn't. Embiid, one guy of the few people in this league where Embiid can't really figure out is Gasol.
That's amazing to me. It's 2 people that for some reason, well, I understand Marc Gasol, obviously having Joel Embiid's number, Marc Gasol being, a little bit bigger than him. But it's Marc Gasol and Al Horford for some reason had Joel Embiid's number.
He's a one guy that can match him physically.
Yeah. That's crazy to me. Mm-hmm. But you're absolutely correct. And Greg Monroe, I think for our bench, him being an X factor, yes.
Boban can't play in this series.
No.
He just can't. He's too slow. Marc Gasol stretches that floor. He stretches the floor and shoots that 3.
I was going to ask you about that, because my understanding from Game 2, after minutes of Embiid playing and them sitting, they put Boban out there for a little bit, and
I want to say it's so weird because the matchups are so different. You go into that series against Brooklyn. It's like, okay, Boban, yeah, he's playing. He's playing well. But he was going up against Jared Allen, who he was just bigger than completely, and he was effective. But I feel like what Brett Brown did poorly in Game 1 was kind of just carry over that same thing, almost like he didn't even. He thought we were playing the Nets again in round 2 in Game 1. He didn't make any adjustments. He kind of went through his rotations.
He went in with the same strategy that
you can't do that.
with.
This is a bigger team than the Nets.
Yes,
bigger
more
team
talented.
than us.
I mean, the matchups are way different.
Just to draw a comparison, points wise, Game 1, Butler had 10, Harris 14, Embiid 16, Redick 17, and Simmons 14.
Man, they didn't have a good shooting that Game 1.
And then Game 2, 30 points for Butler, 9 for Harris, 12 for Embiid, Redick 11, Simmons 6. So what I see is Butler's the key factor.
Yeah.
When Butler turns it on again, like we had a conversation earlier where I was telling you about how I thought he was deferring in Game 1. I mean, we talked about one play. He got the ball under the basket, no one was around him,
kick it.
and he kicked it out to the corner for a 3. He could. And I'm not kidding you. I'm saying he was wide open underneath, and he didn't shoot it. He didn't even look up. He kicked it out to the corner, and that's when I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, man, we really went out and gave up all these guys, not all these guys, but key guys for our team, Dario and Covington, for a guy that's going to defer when we need him. This is what we brought him in here for, So, Game 2, watching him turn it on like he did, it's surprised me because it was 2 totally different things. Like I went into Game 2 thinking, man, if he's not going to take over, because we know he's capable of doing it.
Yeah,
we've seen him hit game-winning shots in the regular season, the closer.
And my whole thing is this: look, if Jimmy Butler's the one who's going to be doing all the scoring, because that's what it looks like it's going to happen, then let Jimmy Butler score. Let him be the man, because from the looks of it, it looks like they don't have nobody on the squad that's going to stop Jimmy when he's hot.
Embiid's hurt, man.
Yeah,
he's hurt. He's sick.
Embiid's hurt. He's sick. He's not scoring. He's not himself. He's not scoring the amount of points that he usually scores, and he's not himself. We can obviously see that just with our naked eyes. So you need to find another scoring option. Tobias is a little inconsistent right now. Of course, they're going to
still capable.
Yeah, he's still capable.
Putting up points.
And of course, JJ, they're going to keep him on the perimeter. So your only other scoring option is Jimmy.
I also wanted to point out about Ben Simmons. A lot of people I've heard, for me personally, I've heard a lot of people on radio shows talking about Ben Simmons not playing his best the first 2 games. Offensively, he only had, like you said, he only had 6 points in Game 2, but he's been playing the great defense in Game 2 on Kawhi Leonard.
Yes, he did.
And he's given a lot of energy and effort on the defensive end, and that's one of the reasons why I think his offensive game wasn't up to par. Like we usually see him up there around the 12 to 15 point mark. But he still facilitates the offense really well.
He does.
But I want to see these guys, the mentality you talk about, the football mentality type.
The dog.
The dog. I want the dog to come out. Butler, we saw the dog come out in him in Game 2. You got to have this consistent stuff because
that's 1 out of 5 guys that got the dog.
Exactly.
I need more dogs.
We don't want the season to end how it did last year.
And this brings up a question. So, in order for giving max contracts, who would you rather give to? Tobias, who's younger, or Butler?
Having a conversation we had the other day, I said Tobias definitely, and then I saw Jimmy Butler's only 29, and then I was like, Jimmy Butler's only. I could have sworn he was like 31,
I'd
32.
say Jimmy Butler deserves the max contract.
I'm leaning more towards Jimmy, only because I know he has that dog mentality. Right. Tobias, nothing against him. I do like Tobias Harris. I like his versatile game, but I would probably give a max contract to Jimmy more, only because he's more sound defensively and he's more of a hustler than Tobias is.
I've been scratching my head on Chris. What do you think?
When the Tobias trade went down, that was my own fault. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I forget where I heard it, but I heard about the when the trade was executed. It was done with the thought and the goal in mind of keeping Tobias Harris here long term. So I'm thinking management's thoughts are keeping Tobias here.
Right, and he has stated that he wants to stay here long term. He has no problem with that. But the thing with Tobias is he can be gone months at a time, and we wouldn't really notice on court wise.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, and Embiid, but no one really just stops and talks about Tobias Harris.
No.
To be honest with you, I give them both. I give them both a max contract. I'll tell you why.
I wouldn't mind giving them both.
I'll tell you why. The age is effective in this.
Yes.
Tobias, 26, 27.
Yep.
Jimmy, all the experience he's had in his career already, he's only 29 years old. These guys are veteran players. And also, there's been a lot of rumors going around that Ben's not going to want to be when he's not going to want to be here anymore when his contract's up. I know Embiid, I don't have any worries about Embiid leaving. I think Embiid loves the city, but to keep Ben Simmons here and to really groom these younger guys. I know we want to say, man, maybe free up some money for some bench depth because our bench obviously has been
Yeah,
question mark. But having Mike Scott out hurts, obviously. But finding guys like Greg Monroe, I'm gonna go back to Greg Monroe because we just found him off waivers like the last month of the season, and he put up legit minutes and great defense and offensive ability against Marcus All in Game 2, and that's something you don't expect. This guy was just sitting at home a month or two ago.
Yep.
This is such a. I feel like it's such an unpopular opinion amongst most fans. If Ben Simmons doesn't stick around here, I'm not going to be that upset.
Why do you say that?
I feel like, and you see it in game. He is not given, and when I say respect, I mean they know he's not going to. They know he doesn't have a jump shot. They know he's not going. He's a one-trick pony. Now, yeah, he can definitely
create mismatches.
But I want to have a guy out there who can do whatever I need him to do. So if Ben Simmons, even if he is worth that money one day, I feel like he's a one-trick pony, and I wouldn't be. Yeah, he's a great talent, but I wouldn't be that upset if he leaves. Now saying that, I mean, who are you going to put there? But that's a question to be answered in the future.
Right.
In my personal opinion, because I haven't seen any development in terms of his game. And yes, like you said, he is a one-trick pony, and that one trick he does very, very well.
Yeah, he does.
But because of the fact that you have failed to develop your game and evolve your game in any way, shape, or form, get out. All right?
Wow.
Listen.
So you agree with me, too?
Get out.
This is crazy.
I have to disagree with you.
This is a 2v2 war right here. I disagree.
I really
completely.
do disagree. Tana, what do you think?
Although I see their point with one trick pony, he many times we've said just drive up and get fouled and go to the free throw, but he can't do that. We can't depend on that.
Yes.
And listen,
go out there, Ben. You got it.
I know we can't depend on that free throw or the 3 points, so he's just depending on other guys, but just to get rid of him, I think we should wait. As we know to trust the process with this player.
When I say get rid of him, I use that term loosely in terms of maybe look for a trade,
right?
Or and if you can't work anything out and he just decides to walk, because there's already now it's a conspiracy theory about the I forget after which Brooklyn game about him, after the whole fans, the trash talking fans, and there's like this whole conspiracy theory that he doesn't like it here and blah 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 blah, and I mean people feed into that. Sometimes I do, but I don't think this is going to be a place Ben Simmons is going to be long term.
And something else, this is crazy to me because no one's going to be pleased by anything that happens with Ben Simmons. They want him to be out right now, and then when he gets traded for someone, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, that wasn't worth the trade. This player's not as good as Ben Simmons." Now you're saying Ben Simmons is better than this player we got.
And that's the crazy of Philly.
Yeah.
That's the crazy of Philly, man.
I mean, that's the caveat. I mean, look, you're probably not going to get us equal amount of value that you're going to get, especially because now we've seen him play in the NBA for a couple of years. Everybody pretty much knows his game. Okay, so everybody knows his game. Everybody also knows his limitations. And obviously those limitations are his jump shot or lack thereof. Mm-hmm. Lack of a free throw shot. Heck of a driver. Can finish at the rim.
Yeah, you can.
Can facilitate offense.
This guy's 22, 23 years old.
I understand that. How old is Giannis?
He's the potential for a superstar talent.
And how old is Giannis?
About the same age.
And look at him. Look how much he developed. Giannis basically came in same size. The only thing Giannis couldn't do was maybe facilitate the offense.
Ben Simmons is arguably my favorite player on the Sixers. Mm-hmm. I think what he does, and it's almost one of the things, one of the little things I should say, is the effort he puts in. Anytime a jump shot goes up, anytime Embiid's in the post, Simmons is just there he always is fighting for boards. And it's great because he's bigger than who's guarding him all the time. He's 6'10" point guard. Yeah, but his effort's always there. And defensively, when he puts, guys take games off during the regular season. They just want to, it happens, But when he turns it on, just watching the game 2 against Kawhi, I mean, it's all he needs to do is develop a jump shot. And we're saying, no one wants to be patient with this because everybody's seen no progress in 2 years. And I feel the same way about that. I want to see at least attempt. We saw an attempt. And now he's not going to attempt in the playoffs because that's just ridiculous. We don't want him shooting threes in the playoffs or anything like that, especially when he's not comfortable with it at all. But I think a guy like this, you don't just let walk away. It's Ben Simmons. I mean, a guy the way he runs this offense and the way he attacks, especially in transition. You got to get him out in transition, get his strengths going. This guy's one jump shot away from being a top 5 player in the NBA.
And you're absolutely correct in that statement. But that's the problem.
He's already probably a top 20 player, you could argue.
But that's the issue. It's that one thing that's stopping him, and I haven't seen any development with it at all. Not an attempt, barely any attempts.
I will say this: he's improved from the foul line.
All I get is teases from him in practice. Okay, he's hitting the shots in practice. He's taking the shots in practice. Let's see him in the game.
He did in the regular season. We saw him. He's not going to take threes in the playoffs. All right. Well, he's not taking threes in the playoffs.
Maybe he's saving them for the playoffs.
No.
Game 7 of the finals.
No.
Ben Simmons takes that 3, 9 seconds left and makes it.
This is not. Oh, let's jump. We're not playing the Miami Heat in November. All right.
It's not like an RPG where you're scavenging things and you're saving them up for whatever blah. You know, he's not saving up his jump shots for the finals.
True. Listen,
that's not true.
I like Ben Simmons on this team. I really do. I think the effort he puts in, and when he'll get there with his jump shot, he'll get there. All right, let's just start with the free throw. All right, let's not be drastic about it. He's improved from the foul line. He really has. I actually have a little bit of confidence in him going up there to the foul line.
I just need him to start taking jump shots when he's left wide open. That's all I'm saying.
This team built around Simmons and Embiid, to me personally, and if I think we get rid of Ben Simmons, then what was the point of this whole process?
Ben Simmons holds this.
Joel's the process.
But Simmons is the glue. Simmons holds this team together. He gets people open. He gets people the ball. You know, he's a great passer. And he's not people say, oh man, but he's just a triple-double machine like Russell Westbrook. He's not. He's going to give you maybe 12 to 15 points a game, but he's going to play great defense when he's engaged. When he's engaged defensively, he's going to play great defense. We saw that in Game 2 against Kawhi. And his rebounding and passing, those abilities that he has that other point guards don't have.
And that is true. Everything that you say is true. Everything you say is a definite factor. And I'm not discounting that.
What's your option if we get rid of him?
T and I. Well, okay.
I haven't worked that far out yet.
We're not.
We're going to get rid of a top 20 player in the league to say, oh, maybe we can get a better point guard.
Look, T.
Oh no.
Look,
You're
Max.
probably not going to get a better point guard.
No, not at all. No, Max. We're not. T and I. We're not like, oh yeah, we're going to donate our car to the Sixers to get Ben Simmons out of town.
No.
You know, we're just saying that when it comes time, because I also don't think Ben Simmons wants to stick around here. I don't. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't get that feeling either.
There's a small part of me that thinks he wants to go to L.A., to New York,
he wants to be with Kylie Jenner.
Boston, to a bigger city, you know, arguably. And I think we're just saying that we feel that it's inevitable that Ben Simmons will one day not be a Sixer. And we're just exploring the possibilities of how to attempt to solve that problem.
So you're saying get him out of here before he gets out of here?
Yes.
So you're saying
get something for him.
Get something for him instead of him just walking.
He walks.
And I agree with that statement.
All right. Well.
Wow, that happened.
That
that
shouldn't be thinking about this
That's
during
scary.
the playoffs.
Listen, we get to the Eastern Conference Finals, or even the finals for that matter. It's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, man, we can keep these guys here if we can re-sign Tobias and Jimmy. And then, I mean, we just got to the finals. Why would Simmons want to go somewhere else? What, is he going to go to the Lakers and lose, all the time with LeBron?
No, he's going to
because LeBron doesn't have anybody around him right now. He didn't make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, true.
LeBron is.
One thing I did want to ask you guys: Kawhi in Toronto right now is playing insane, but he's a free agent at the end of this year. Do you think Kawhi is going back to Toronto, or do you think he's going to LA or something?
There's a whole thing because there's another show I listen to, and they're guys up in Toronto, and when they talk about the Raptors, there is this whole thing up there about they don't know if he's going to stick around.
They kind of went all in with it with the trade for DeRozan out of here.
With the media just harps on him all the time, you know. Mm-hmm. You know, and I forget who was on the Raptors, but he basically said that Kawhi is this team, and if he leaves, we're all lost type thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
you take Kawhi off of this team, it's like, oh man, you got an old Kyle.
I just forget who said that.
No, but it's a good point though, because when you take him off the team, you got an old Kyle Lowry and you got an old Marcus Gasol. And the really only high riser you have is Pascal Siakam. Danny Green's up there too in age.
Serge Ibaka.
To wrap up the basketball point, I think the playoffs in this second round have been great and fun to watch so far. I know the first round there wasn't any upsets. There never really will be in the NBA.
No, not really.
It's too top heavy. But I think the second round matchups, it's going to be a fun second round to watch. Right. I think everybody's pretty even. The Celtics, Bucks, that's a great matchup in my opinion.
I love those games, man.
Rockets, Warriors. Rockets, Warriors going at it.
That game was insane.
That game was insane last night. A lot of injuries. Curry dislocated his finger.
Yeah, I was about to add because I saw that Curry left. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah, he dislocated his finger, and Harden left too. Harden got raked across the eyes.
Yeah,
laceration.
It wasn't
the left eye.
It wasn't intentional. I think Draymond Green did it, but it wasn't.
That's always questionable when Draymond injures.
It is, but I agree with you too. Though.
But legit, I don't think it was intentional.
But this injury is gonna, to me, I think this injury that Harden got cost them the series because he has now that blurry vision from on his left eye, and I think that's going to affect his gameplay.
But he was still hitting that jump back step 3, man.
I agree with what you're saying, Tanner. I think it hurts. It really
hurts.
does because last night I really going into the game. You're like, man, there's no way Harden's, especially because the threes he hits and the way he gets to the foul line. I was like, they got to get game 2 in Golden State before they go home. Now they're in a 2-0 hole, and they got an injured James Harden. I know they're going back to Houston, but they got an injured James Harden.
Chris Paul hasn't really been doing anything either.
At least, the good news is he's healthy, though. Last year, Game 6, he hurts his hamstring, and he's out for the rest of the series. At least he's healthy. But I just think that the Warriors just come at you in waves, man.
Yeah.
I saw the game last night. They come down and hit 3 straight threes on 3 possessions. It's 9 points in a minute and 30 seconds. Yep. You know, so I see that happen. I'm like, man, with a injured Harden now, can the Rockets really win this series? Right. I'm not saying it's over.
And Andre Iguodala is a monster under that rim.
There's a guy who's coming out, McKenzie, I think Isaiah McKenzie came off the bench and he was come flying out of nowhere, getting offensive rebounds, kicking it back out for Klay Thompson's knocking down threes.
Every player is on fire on that team.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Since now our next transition is to football, am I right to compare the Warriors to the Patriots?
That's not
in a sense of success and just.
That's not a bad comparison. It really isn't because both are dynasties who have won multiple championships, and name a team that's going to stop them.
Right.
Like as long as the Patriots have Tom Brady, name a team in the AFC who's going to stop them.
They're always in the playoffs.
There's nobody.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, here we go.
Right. Tell you what.
Here we go.
I was gonna say the Chiefs, and then they lost. They lost like their starting running back Kareem Hunt, and then they lost Tyreek Hill. So I was gonna say them, but now it's like
they also have the Madden cover curse with Patrick Mahomes.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
I don't know.
That curse is real.
I'm not saying the Cleveland Browns are gonna win a Super Bowl or anything, but you better watch out because they got some talent on both sides of the ball there. And
Cleveland Browns. Let me tell you this:
Gronk retired. That's the only thing I'm saying. I don't care how old Tom Brady gets. He could be 50 years old. If he has weapons around him, obviously they got a shot. But Gronk retiring, I think, is huge for them.
Oh,
because you take him out of the picture, it's like, wow, he was the one guy where it's just like, all right, who's going to stop this guy? I mean, you can't put one guy on him, no matter what position he plays, safety, linebacker, or anything, because Gronk will just run right through him.
That is true. But speaking of football, this draft.
What?
You know
Are
what?
You okay?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. First off, I feel sorry for Josh Rosen getting traded to Miami.
Why do you feel sorry? I think it's a great opportunity for him.
No. I feel sorry for what he had to go through in Arizona. You get drafted, and you get drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. You think you're going to be the franchise quarterback there just for you to, not perform and not really have anything around you to really develop, and then you get traded the next year to another team for somebody else. Man, that sucks.
Let me bring up a stat or a fact.
Ooh.
This draft saw the most trades in NFL history.
Really?
With 40 trades.
That's crazy.
And then I'm not finished on my rant. New York Football Giants. All of you fans out there, I've never thought that I would say this and I would feel sorry for a rival, but I feel sorry for y'all. I really do.
Why?
Daniel Jones. Look.
Who?
Look, okay. Fine. Even if that was the Giants guy. They had 2 picks at number 7, and they had another one at 14? Am I not mistaken? Or 17?
17.
Okay. Daniel Jones was still going to be there at 17. Nobody was thinking about Daniel Jones. You could have had Josh Allen and Daniel Jones.
You make a great point because I would just sit here and say, Daniel Jones, I'm not sitting here saying Dwayne Haskins is that much better or if he's any better than Daniel Jones. But the fact that you say he definitely could have been there with that later round pick. I don't know if it was 17, but somewhere back later in the first round, I'd say Daniel Jones would have been there. You could have got some legit talent like Josh Allen.
My whole beef was that value. You value pick. You don't just pick for need, or you don't just pick just because the player is available, no matter where he's
Especially
projected
if you
to
have
go.
like no talent like the Giants do.
Yes, you need everything at this point. Why in the hell would you draft Daniel Jones with the number 7 overall pick when you could have had him later on in the draft? You could have had Ed Oliver. Oh my God!
Josh Allen.
I feel like it's a similar reason for why the Eagles frantically took a quarterback late in the 5th round.
Yeah.
Clayton Thorson from Northwestern.
Right.
Yes.
I'm still looking at that tape. He needs development.
So
a lot.
I don't think. I think it was just a gimme pick.
The thing with that pick was they were going for Easton Stick.
Yep.
And that pick right before the Chargers they picked our guy, and that was a panic pick to me.
In our group,
Well, you needed three
in our
quarterbacks.
group
You
chat,
can't go in-
in our
have
group
three
chat, we
quarterbacks.
said that. Yep.
We have 3 quarterbacks.
Who are they?
Sudfeld, Perez, and Wentz.
Right, but Perez is really
Yeah.
nobody.
Right,
we
but
needed an actual guy.
But why draft a quarterback who you don't really know much about, and instead of who we need a safety? We need a safety.
You can-
I mean,
yeah, I
we're
understand.
assuming they don't know much about the
In our
about
group,
Clayton
in our
Thorson.
group chat, we said that, and I said they got caught with their pants down.
In all honesty, you're not going to. And the odds are not in your favor. You're finding a starting safety in the 5th round. So you needed a third. You needed the third quarterback compete with a backup
That's
job.
true.
I don't mind the pick. I really don't mind the pick. You needed a backup.
No, I don't
quarterback.
mind the pick, but what disturbs me, don't get me wrong, I think they hit the nail on the head with these draft picks.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not against anybody that they drafted.
Oh, we're talking
Defense
about
went-
the Eagles now.
But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we're talking Eagles now. I'm not against anything that they picked. Anybody that they picked. But dude, 4 out of 5 players were offensive players.
I think the thing with
That disturbs me.
the defensive, especially tackles, they went and even corners and D-backs in the 2nd round. Those guys just went high. There was a run on those players.
It
That
was.
left some serious talent from the offensive side of the ball later in the 2nd round.
I didn't see Darnell Savage going as high as he did. Like he went first overall, I think 21st overall to Green Bay. I did not see that coming.
The pick that's my least favorite pick in this entire draft was Miles Sanders.
Really?
I don't like Miles Sanders. I don't like him. I think he's talented. Don't get me wrong. He's a talented guy. I just think that's a pick where I think we should have taken a safety. I think we got for this season. I mean, we'll let next Jordan Howard's last contract. We
That's
look at
true.
it next season. But when we traded up, and I was thinking, okay, we're going to get Josh Jacobs here. And we took the tackle. I'm like, okay, great, because Peters is going to be
Yes.
gone after this year.
That was a good
and he's
pick.
going to slide right in there, pass protect for Wentz. It's like we needed to bolster that offensive line. It's getting old. But I thought that's J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, another pick. I watched this guy at Stanford.
Yes.
This guy is a freak athlete.
Yes, he is.
He's going to be Alshon 2.0, in my opinion.
And he's a sneaky route runner.
Yeah.
He really is for somebody who's that big.
Throw it up, he's going to get it.
Yes.
He's that athletic.
And
I
he
think
can
it's a
get
great
open
pick.
for a big body.
Yes. I just feel like we could have addressed a position of need with talent there. There's still talent in the 2nd round. Like
I
in the 5th
agree.
round, you guys are saying the quarterback take a safety. You're not going to find that much talent in the 5th round on the safety side of things.
But you don't know.
You don't. I agree with what you're saying. I agree. But in the 2nd round, you're like, okay, you can maybe get a definite starter, at least compete for the starting spot in that 2nd round. I didn't think Miles Sanders. I think that was more of a talent pick than a need, because when you were saying earlier, you don't pick a position player for need, right? You pick them based on value.
Right.
I think there was legit value there in that 2nd round. And also, on top of that, we needed a safety. So I thought that would be the pick where let's get a solid safety here, a corner, a linebacker, even because Jordan Hicks left. Not saying I hate the pick, because obviously we saw Miles Sanders play at Penn State.
Yeah,
he's a really good player. But
Yeah.
it's probably out of all the picks, because that Sharif Miller at the end, because we don't know about Chris Long, how he's thinking ahead,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
a
another
smart
good pick. That was probably my least favorite, and I didn't hate it again, but it was probably my least favorite pick.
And I understand from that standpoint of view what you're saying about Miles Sanders, but for real, at that point, I think Jonathan Abram had been drafted like maybe a couple
Well, he was
picks before
high.
that.
He was high. Yeah, he went a little bit higher.
Yeah. So he was gone from the safety position. Like I said, Darnell Savage was drafted in the 1st round.
There was a safety from Kentucky, I think, was there.
Okay.
I'm not 100% positive on it. Or a corner, maybe I'm thinking of. But I think the point was there was talent there.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying go out and take a flyer on somebody. There was still talent on
And
the
then
board.
also look at it like this: Jordan Howard's only here for 1 year under contract. So if he leaves, which probably we're predicting because the Eagles just picked up Carson Wentz's 5th-year option. So obviously now you need to work around how in the world you're going to pay Carson.
Right.
We probably can't afford Jordan Howard after this year. So that was a smart pick.
Probably, depending on what kind of year he has. But I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Probably not.
You're probably not going to be able to afford him. And at least now, with the pickup Miles Sanders, you have a feature back for at least 3 to 4 years that you don't have to worry
My
about.
only argument to that would be we could have easily done the same position thing next year's draft coming into the season and give the guy a shot. Because you're still going to have Clement under contract. You could have drafted. You don't know who's coming out next year. I mean, you got options that we know are going to be coming out of high school into the, as a freshman, or even guys that are already in college.
Right.
So my point would be, why don't we just take a, not a flyer, but take a guy next year and be like, all right, okay, let's give this guy a legit shot. Take him higher, kind of second round ish area, and give him a shot and take our starting safety this year. Because you're right, Jordan Howard, if he comes out and has a great year this year, probably going to get a big contract somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
And if not, then we need a running back. And the thing that I like about Howard, he fits the run option offense.
He does.
He's going to hit you right up the tackles. Nothing shifty on the outside, but he's going to hit you right up the middle. I think it was a great trade from Howie Roseman's standpoint. But again, like I said, my only argument would be, why don't we just take the running back next year's draft?
But the one thing that, interests me with the first pick of Andre Dillard, he is going to play left tackle. The question is when. A lot of people are assuming that he's going to sit behind Jason Peters. I think differently.
Honestly, put him in the guard spot this year. I don't care if he's not a guard. Put him in the guard spot this year.
You
use the size of his talent.
I'm
put
gonna
him
tell
in a starter.
but I'm gonna tell you who you should move the guard, Jason Peters, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Really?
Even though I've heard there are stories out there that years ago I think they tried to move Jason Peters to guard and he was completely against it. But I think he needs to reconsider that.
So you're saying put Peters at a guard and what Dillard slides in left tackle?
Put Peters at left guard and slide Dillard at the tackle position.
I think you could be on something because the athletic ability of Dillard on the outside.
Correct. And I'm also looking at the fact that Jason Peters cannot finish a game. And left tackles probably take the most abuse probably out of everybody.
And I think they have talked about moving him to guard because he says he wants to play till he's 40.
Correct. And the only way that's going to happen is if you play guard.
Right.
Because
he's going to be the biggest guard I've ever seen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at tackle because you're using your legs a whole lot more wider at the tackle position.
Yeah. No one's going to beat Jason Peters, especially if he's a guard position. There's nobody's getting through him one-on-one. He's
you're not going to get through Jason Peters if he's at guard.
Yeah. Because he wouldn't need to shift and move his legs as much. He kind of just stand there and use his hands.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
That's why I think the move to guard, moving Jason Peters to guard would be the right thing to do.
Looking back on what I said about like a minute ago, now I'm starting to think, you know what? Yeah, put the more athletic guy in Dillard on the outside.
Correct.
Have him protect once his blind side. And hell, put Peters at the left guard position. We had guys last year like Wisniewski and guys like, come on.
Because I think Dillard is good enough where you can start him at that left tackle position. I really do. I think he has the talent. You can start him immediately.
If you put Peters or Dillard at guard, right, you still got Kelsey. You have Peters or Dillard, whatever. You don't put a guard at the left tackle. And then you have Brooks coming back. Hopefully he gets healthy. Hopefully.
Right.
And then Johnson at right tackle. That offensive line is
it's a
one
heck
of the
of an
best in the
offensive
league.
line.
Then you got Carson under center. You got talented young running backs. And then that's
what I'm saying.
Goddard. I mean, people better watch out if that's what happens.
And I was just discussing it with a friend of mine. You can't stack the box anymore. We can come out in 12 personnel. Mm-hmm. One back, 2 tight ends.
Howard's that one guy that's going to pound. He'll get you right the middle with those tackles, man. We didn't have that back last year.
You can't
Blunt
stack the box because you'll have Deshaun Jackson on the outside and you'll leave Deshaun Jackson one-on-one and you're going to leave Alshon Jeffrey one-on-one. Ertz is going to be room in the middle. Goddard's going to be room in the middle. You can't stack the box. And if you put 2 safeties deep, trying to stop the deep ball, trying to stop everything from going over the middle, guess what? We're going to gash you with the run because our offensive line is bigger, physical giants.
We got a legit shot to win the Super Bowl this year if this all comes to fruition. Now, the only question I think that Carson Wentz is health. Carson Wentz is health.
Yeah,
that's the key.
It's a big one.
Yeah, there's no security. There's no more security blanket.
If Carson Wentz isn't healthy, but if Carson Wentz is healthy, we're
I know why you're smiling because I said
just to answer your thing from it doesn't even matter anymore. But the Kentucky cornerback you were thinking of was Lonnie Johnson Jr.
Lonnie Johnson. That's
okay.
I know it was Johnson. I just couldn't think of his first name, but
went to Houston.
But yeah, there's no more security blanket. It's all on Carson.
I just don't.
I've said that from the beginning.
Do we? Because what made him so dynamic was his ability to get out, escape pressure, and run. Do you still? I guess you gotta let him loose like that still, right?
You do because that's his game set. But at the same time, you also have to tell him, look, it ain't safe for you to.
We don't have Nick Foles anymore,
right?
You know?
It ain't safe for you to keep doing that. Stay in the pocket, okay? Listen, we'll give you the power back to audible. Mm-hmm. Just stay in the pocket.
Right.
Since you guys are talking about the Eagles and their future, let's go into the rivals and the Redskins. What do you guys think about Dwayne Haskins going to the Redskins?
They're going to ruin his career.
I agree with that.
They're going
Rookie of the
to
year
ruin his
next year.
career.
I
Really.
think Dwayne Haskins is a really talented quarterback.
He's a talented quarterback, but I was really hoping the Giants would have picked him because I really like Dwayne Haskins and I wanted to see him develop.
The Giants don't really have money either, so what's the difference there? Say he was say he was on the Giants right now. What's the difference?
The difference was he was going to sit behind Eli and be able to develop
Eli's
his game.
awful.
Eli's awful, but Eli wasn't going to be
Eli's
replaced.
experience.
Eli can
experience.
teach him the offense, but
Yeah.
he can learn the offense himself. What's he going to learn from Eli that he can't learn from Case Keenum? You know, there's two terrible teams
Eli's-
regardless.
All I'm saying is there's this article published in 2015 from this high school, and in it states, hopefully RG3 pans out in DC, but if not, expect them to draft another quarterback in the next 5 years. And that was, the sports editor was actually Dwayne Haskins.
I have an answer.
Wow.
What are you saying, Chris?
I have an answer for
Real
you.
quick, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, 2 Super Bowl rings. That's the answer to you. All right? Look, Eli, he's not great anymore. He's been there, though.
Yes, and I 110% agree with that now because I guess he can learn and he's got the experience. Case Keenum's got experience too in the playoffs, but hell, we all know how that turned out against the Eagles.
All I'm saying is, man, they're going to ruin that young man's career and it's going to be sad.
Well, we're going to
Tune in
find
next
out.
week.
Tune in next week. Backstreet Sports, Sixers updates, Phillies updates.
Boots to asses.
Good close, T. Good close. We'll see everybody next week. Backstreet Sports.
Let's win the series.
Oh, yeah.